Gotcha.
Well, we got it, doggone. Welcome aboard, stargazers. It is our 61st episode. That's far over a year of the SBAU Astro Hour. Welcome aboard. I'm Baron Ron Heron, your host. Proud to be the vice president of the club. This will be for the week of April 25th through May the 1st, 2022, where we pick minds of the Brain Trust who are on the screen. We may have a sixth person join us here in a moment. You never know. It's the South Coast Longtime Telescope and Astrophysics Club, SB, or Santa Barbara's astronomical unit. AU, of course, meaning 93 million miles, the distance between the Earth and the Sun. And let's look at the headlines. What we're going to try to talk about, we're going to follow the moon past a bunch of planets, check on Mercury, which is not necessarily one of them. We're going to visit Coma, Berenices, something having to do with hair. There was a Martian solar eclipse with one of its dinky moons, believe it or not. Not a lot of information on it, but I guess there's a picture maybe. And the UOP, we're going to visit Neptune. And unless
I think that's Uranus, Ron.
Oh, you know what? It is. That's what the U stands for. And I wrote down those two planets. They're gas giants.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
they're the same size. And you're right. Thank you for correcting me. We'll start with you then, Chuck McPartland.
Good morning.
Oh, there you are, in front of the Ukrainian flag. They're hanging in there, man. I got to tell you, Chuck. He's our outreach coordinator, and I'm going to ask him in a few minutes to give us an outreach summary of what's to come, I guess. We're doing pretty well. We're meeting again on the second Saturday for the Star Parties. His lovely wife, Pat, is the merchandise manager, and I think she's in charge of that and doing very well. Our president, Jerry Wilson, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning.
Yes, a long time, third or fourth season. Pat Porgy is his role. We have Tom Totten, webmaster, technical wizard, running the show, former president, and his wife is Cezanne, an artiste. And also the bread baker, Tim Crawford, spent his years teaching science at Westmont College in the lab. And not Tim Crawford, Tom Whittemore.
Yeah, Tom Whittemore. You said Tim Crawford.
I got to change all these damn pages. This intro I got to get rid of. I'm going to redo this whole thing because I'm just jumping around. I got Crawford, though, mentioned in a few minutes in one of the cartoons if we call him up. Why don't we go there, shall we, before we know what we're going to talk about? Tom, do you call up any one of the three that were submitted to us, forwarded by the president? I call them silly science cartoons. Maybe iTest or Busted or Earth Day.
Okay, hold on.
Explain that. Here we go.
Here's
a little levity out of the way here.
This is the latest one here.
Oh, okay. That's the one I don't understand. Possibly sometime in the future, maybe. Father in a spacesuit says to his son in a spacesuit, someday you'll understand the role of tradition in providing comfort and continuity. But you're right. It's funny that we still call it Earth Day. There's a message in there. Is this on another planet?
They're not on Earth.
Oh, they're not on Earth.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. We're supposed to know that. It looks like a skyline in the background.
They're wearing spacesuits. You don't have to do that unless
and the craters on the ground. And it's
looks like they're on the red planet.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. All right. With a skyline already built, going to ruin that planet too. Here we go. This is the iTest, picturing a test NASA failed to give the Hubble. Optician with an eye chart standing in front of the original Hubble Space Telescope before it got launched. Okay, can you read the bottom line there? ANTL. Oh my God. Wouldn't have had the blurry photos problem after launching into space. Apparently, they just didn't think about it. Somebody must have been chastised greatly for that mistake, gang, back in the 90s.
They made two mirrors at Perkin-Elmer.
Yeah. Okay.
And they used a machine basically to help make them. And they made the first mirror, they tested it, it was perfect. They put it aside. They made the second mirror. And when they made the second mirror, it turns out there was a little pin that you could put in the device that determined the sagitta, how deeply it ground out the mirror.
Right.
And you could put the pin in backwards. And somebody did that. And so they made the mirror. And then they said, well, we made it the same way we made the first one. The first one was perfect. We can save $1 million if we don't test this one. And so they didn't. And it turns out that's the one they picked to be the flight mirror. And the other one was backup. The perfect one stayed on the Earth as backup. So
I see. So somebody's head rolled. Is that about the size, the scale that it would be? It's about as big as a bus, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hubble's aperture is about 5 meters, I think. Isn't
Oh,
it?
But
No,
it's
Hubble-
about a
97
little bit short of 8 feet, like 94.5 inches.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. 94 inches.
but we're talking about a difference of like a hair, the thickness of a hair, aren't we?
Oh, yeah.
Very
And-
slight difference.
Yeah.
And unlike the James Webb is tunable. It can be flexed, moved somehow.
Yeah.
They've tuned it up. Oh,
But each facet is figured to a certain shape, and that has to be very accurate.
okay. That's the eye test. Now, Busted shows Tim Crawford taking on house chores, vacuuming, doing his laundry, ironing, and his wife, who is his beautiful wife, Karen, says to him, so how much was the new telescope, honey? Okay, that's how it works. That's Tim. We're okay. Are you running out of cartoons? Normally you have 7 or 8 there, Jerry.
No, they're just opportunistic things. They pop up or they don't.
Yeah,
There's lots of cartoons, but they weren't appropriate for this group.
my daughter sent me a good one. I may forward it to most of you, and we'll run it next week if you want. Okay, talking points. The moon is going right by a parade of planets. How often does that happen? Anyone want to start us off? Saturn is in the sky, 5 degrees south of it, on the southeast horizon overnight. So when is it? Tomorrow? Both are in Capricornus, the goat. Saturn is at magnitude 0.7, right above magnitude 3 Deneb Algidae. Did I get that right? Okay.
Dina Shady, the goat's tail.
Here we are. This part of the talking points that Jerry sent us,
Yes.
because I
Yeah, and as I mentioned before, I've been watching this pretty much every morning, and today's was pretty spectacular. You can see, like Chuck mentioned earlier, that Venus is, cruising in on Jupiter. It's really pretty, and they're in a nice line, beautiful line. Okay.
so it goes without saying that most of the planets are on the same side of the sun, aren't they? Obviously.
No,
No?
In this
Okay,
case,
then-
they kind of are, but
yeah, they kind of are, I guess, yeah.
we're not.
Neptune, Jupiter, well,
I wonder how often that happens, that all 8 planets get on the same side.
Well,
it happened once in April of 1964, and I've told you the story many times, but the mythology of that time was that it would unbalance the gravitational attraction of the planets for Earth, and California was supposed to break off and fall in the ocean.
Aha.
Ignoring all historic data, the California is slowly rising out of the ocean, because you can find fossils on top of mountaintops around here.
Oh, yeah, obviously. Well, now, when you look at Jupiter, there's often 4 moons, as we all know, even Galileo caught them. But when you look at Saturn, it's usually just Titan that we can see.
No, depends on the size of your telescope. There's actually 6 you can see around Saturn with a decent sized backyard scope.
Okay, but it says here in the talking points, Moon Titan's also visible up there. Rings are tilted about 13 degrees to our line of sight.
Yeah, we commonly see Titan in our small scopes that we do for outreach.
mhm.
Aha, okay. And let's see, Titan is 43 arc seconds visible to Saturn's southwest in the morning. Now, anybody want to guide us out toward Mars, Jupiter, Venus, Neptune? Is it going by all those planets too, the moon?
Yes.
Well, in that picture that's in the talking points, you can see the planets all in a line, and the moon down there with it is shown in crescent phase, and it's going to be sliding down as it goes toward noon. It's going to be sliding down to the lower left,
Right.
paralleling the straight line of the planets.
Yeah.
So
That's what I saw this morning. This little chart here doesn't show how spectacular the moon looked this morning. And again, that was about 6 o'clock. I saw this. Okay. But the really neat thing that's going on, besides the moon coming in on Venus, is how Venus is coming in on Jupiter. Okay, it's really pretty.
Yeah, on Saturday morning or Sunday morning coming up, it's going to be real close.
Okay.
How many of them are on retrograde? Is that just a viewing posture of us to which way they're going?
Yes.
Mhm.
That's just when we pass them on our inner circle, or when the inner planets do their thing.
Yeah.
If we were to look down on the solar system from above, assuming you could do that, all the planets to be going counterclockwise, right?
It depends how you define above.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's true.
If you define above as sort of north for us, then
Right.
yes, when you look down on
Yeah.
it, they're going counterclockwise.
But wouldn't you see a totally different solar system, really, if you looked at it from below?
No.
No,
Maybe
no,
not.
it's pretty much the same thing. There is no up or down, and top and bottom in space.
I understand that, but there is north and south and east and
On
west.
the Earth, yes.
Well, here's what you said. Tonight, Ursa Major, the Great Bear, lies on her back above the North Celestial Pole after sunset. Her tail is Big Dipper's handle, stretching to the right easterly. Just south of the bottom of Dipper's bowl is the planetary nebula M97, known as the Owl.
Mhm.
Was that on the map, the Owl Nebula?
Yes.
To find it, locate Merak, Ursa Major's magnitude 2 beta star. Lower right-hand corner, M97 is
You
2.
can see M97 way up at the top of the star chart to find your chart.
Okay,
It's near the star Merak.
all right, Merak's up there. And
We haven't seen the finder chart yet, though, so.
Okay,
we went-
Merak is one of the famous pointer stars.
yeah.
What, Merak is?
Yeah,
One of the pointer stars, Merak and Dopey.
Oh,
Where is
shit,
it?
I'm not sharing yet. I guess I didn't share, sorry.
Where is it in relation to Polaris?
it points at Polaris. See the two up there under the word Ursa, above Ursa Major?
Yep.
See this alpha and beta? Beta is Merak.
Oh, I
And
see.
those two, a straight line between those two points right at Polaris. So that's why they're called the pointer stars,
Wow.
as opposed to the pointer sisters. And M97 is up there near Merak under the bowl of Ursa Major. M97 is a small planetary nebula. Looks like the face of an owl because it's got two symmetrically spaced dark spots in it that looks like the owl's eyes in a round face.
That's why they call it the Owl Nebula?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's one of the few that to me looks like what it has been popularly named.
Mhm.
I'd
Can
love,
you find a picture of the Owl Nebula and show it, Tom?
yeah, I'd like to see that, how that owl.
There.
Oh, right. That's a barn owl.
So that's before cameras. That's what
That
you
looks like more of a bug nebula.
What do we have in common with owls? We can all see stereoscopically, like dogs.
This is what you would see in a telescope with a O3 filter. There, you can put a filter on it that really improves the contrast. I'm not so sure you would see the color, but it's kind of a gray.
So that's a big ball of gas and dust
Yep.
with some stars in it.
Well,
The star. Go ahead.
just the central star, pretty much.
Okay.
The other stars are in front of it.
Ones are in front of it between us and the. So is it a nursery? Is that what?
No, it's Ron, it's a planetary nebula.
Right.
That's
This
the
is
end
the-
phase in life of a star like the sun.
Right. It's more of a cemetery than a nursery.
Planetary nebulas have no planets in them, as far as you know.
Right.
No, but the early telescope, the small round object looked like a planet.
I see. Okay. Got all these different areas in the solar, in the galaxy, star clusters, nebulas. God, I'm learning so much.
Ooh.
There's got to be a cartoon, a caption for that. Not sure what it would be.
Well, this is what the guy saw. He sketched it out, before having a camera. This is what you
Mhm.
could see.
Put eyeballs in the middle.
And that
Yeah,
was with a large telescope, 60-inch telescope with a metal mirror, which
Wow.
is hard to get a good figure on. So he saw some cool stuff, but he
Yeah.
also, got a little fanciful sometimes.
What would those two round things that we deem as eyes be in the nebula?
Rarefied areas. You know, it may have had a jet of some kind that directed the flow of gas.
Okay.
From this angle, it looks like it's a sphere, but it very well could not be. There's planetary nebulas have all sorts of shapes. And the one lobe of it may be looking directly, maybe pointing directly at us, and that's why we get the illusion of a sphere.
Yeah, with the ring nebula, it's that way. It's actually shaped like an hourglass, but we're looking at it end on.
Can you find a picture of another planetary nebula that we look at sideways?
Do the dumbbell.
The dumbbell nebula.
Sounds like a dance. Do the dumbbell.
Yeah, it's the cat's eye.
Yeah.
Really? Is that what that's called?
Mhm.
Surprised your kitty's not up there watching this.
There's one I think called the Ant Nebula.
The what?
The Ant, isn't that right?
Yeah, there's the Ant Nebula.
Here's the Eskimo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That name has been deprecated now as
Yeah.
not politically correct, though. So
Right.
Okay. How
What the
many,
heck? Oh, that's a computer simulation.
Yeah.
anybody know how many light years away the owl is?
Yeah, I had it.
those distances
Here's
for planetaries aren't really easy to establish because they're not uniform in brightness.
Oh, really?
I think it said a couple thousand light
Yeah.
years.
That's usually a good guess.
Okay. Fascinating stuff. And the moon.
No luck on the Ant Nebula, huh?
It's the ring.
Lemon slice.
Kind of looks like it. What is this? What was that that we just saw?
The Lemon Slice Nebula.
You're kidding. That is the name of it?
Yeah.
And
You think that's true color?
Mm,
That's a tough question to answer.
Yeah.
There is, because
What chemistry would
the light
that be?
is so dim, the human eye doesn't see color. So what's the true color? It's instrumental extrapolation.
But now the Crab Nebula is a star that blew up, isn't it?
yes, that's a
Yes.
different kind of nebula.
Oh, well, okay. What do they have in common? The word nebula must mean something in
It
common.
means cloud.
Means cloud.
So they're not all exploded stars, went through supernova stage or whatever, but Crab
That's
is.
what the crab is. Yeah.
How about the cat eye?
The cat's eye is a planetary.
Yeah.
And that's
There's
the,
the Ant Nebula.
ooh,
Yeah. Now you see that one will look, if you're way off on the side, that one may look spherical or may look round and therefore assume spherical.
that looks like something blowing out two different directions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They often have jets because the star rotates or it has a magnetic field.
That's a star in the very middle between
Yes.
those,
Yeah.
and that's all called a nebula.
Yes.
What's
Yep.
the name? What's,
Any tenuous material out there is a nebula.
And,
okay.
and this star, what it's no longer doing nuclear fusion, right?
That's correct. It's a white dwarf. It's coasting.
Hit the iron stage.
No.
No, that
Uh-uh.
didn't make it to iron.
Oh,
Stars that make iron blow up in core collapse supernovas. This one
Yeah.
is like our sun. It'll never reach that stage.
And what do you think? Is this is carbon and oxygen?
Yeah, it should make carbon in the core, like
Yeah.
Earth is probably doing right now.
Somewhere in that range.
okay. So that's all one star we're looking at.
Well, one star and what it barfed off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was one star.
Plus others around it. Fascinating.
Mhm.
Okay.
Now the
Gentlemen,
next picture shows the moon farther along when it's at its new moon phase. And you see it's much farther down the line.
Hmm.
Venus and Jupiter are approaching each other.
but we don't have the shape of the moon, do we? It's crescent, isn't it?
There you are.
Beautiful. Yeah. Yeah, I just by watching it this morning, I would say Wednesday morning, it's likely to be awfully close to Venus. That's just a guess on my part.
Well, what do we,
Right now, this was to the
Whoever
right
that
of
was is
Mars.
really
Yeah,
breaking
to the
up.
right of. Mhm.
Someone got a hold of Bruce's speaker
Yeah.
microphones.
Or what is it? Oh, Venus. How come we don't see the moon? Oh, there it
It's
is.
down there in that black spot down at the bottom. That's the
That-
new moon.
And it's trying to show that it's just a tiny, tiny crescent.
Yeah.
What happened to Saturn here?
It's
It's
off the page
it's to the right of Mars. It was to the right of Mars this morning.
Yeah, but you don't see Deneb Elgeti there, so it's off the right
Well,
side.
About a week ago, Chuck, Dana Baljetti was kind of like in the middle of the mix. It was really interesting to see that. And I was wondering, who the heck is that? And it was Dana Baljetti. Yeah. It was kind of in between Venus and the Mars-Saturn coupling. That's sort of where I saw it.
So Tom Whittemore, you get up early morning, wake up your wife, throw your robe on, and actually walk outside in that cold air. And
I'm a baker. I bake bread. So I get up, warm up the oven, and then, just go out and take a look. It's really beautiful.
Get the donuts ready.
Donuts, no wait. This morning it was an einkorn rye with caraway. Beautiful, beautiful loaf.
hurt me. So your house smells like a bakery. I love that smell.
Yeah, yeah.
Fascinating. Have we got time to run down an outreach summary from our outreach coordinator?
Go ahead.
Yeah, sure. Coming up this Saturday is the big event. Is going to be, a lot of Girl Scouts at Kaleidoscope. I think it's too late for volunteers now because we have to have an extra security check done by the Girl Scouts. But I think we've got about 10 or 12 people that are going to show up for that one.
Okay.
And then coming up May 3rd, the first Tuesday, we're restarting Telescope Tuesdays every month, the first Tuesday of the month at Camino Real Marketplace. And then on the Saturday the 7th, we're also going to be out at Camino Real Marketplace. It's International Astronomy Day. So we'll be out there all day with solar telescopes during the day and some activities and giveaways. And then a star party in the evening.
Mhm.
And then on the 14th is the second Saturday of every month is the free public star party at the Museum of Natural History.
Mhm.
And the third Friday of every month is Westmont Telescope Night. So that's every month on the third Friday. And then on the 15th of May is a total lunar eclipse. And so we'll be set up at Camino Real Marketplace from 7 to 10 p.m. To watch totality.
Yeah, that's a Sunday, right, Chuck?
That's a Sunday, yes.
Yeah.
Are you still available to do on-screen presentations to schools or anybody that might call you?
Yeah, except now it's more we're actually going to schools.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
You want to give that contact email address?
Well, outreach@sbau.org.
Outreach@sbau.org. Okay, sbau.org is our regular main website.
Yeah.
Okay, fascinating stuff. We are talking from the talking points of Mr. President. Shall we go out to Mercury? Best views of Mercury. Anybody looking at Mercury or just the parade of planets by the moon?
This is a great opportunity to look at Mercury.
Yeah, yeah.
And the unique thing about this is the aspect ratio and looking at the surface. You get a view similar to the 1882 view that Schiaparelli had.
Mhm.
And there's as that picture of the sketch on the left is from Schiaparelli. There's a number 5 you can see that he wrote on the surface there because he thinks he can see that there. No matter how I squint at the photo, I do not see a number 5. So,
Great.
but
It's kind of a bright area. I can sort of see bits of it here on the image of Mercury, but one of our members a long time ago who had just joined was looking for a project, and he actually imaged surface detail on Mercury.
yeah,
But it's easier to do during the daytime than it is right in the evening when Mercury gets low and there's a lot of turbulence low in the atmosphere and haze like we have now. So he actually pre-aligned his telescope the night before and then imaged it during the day.
Fascinating how the first views give us misinformation. They saw canals on Mars and then 5 on Mercury. I didn't see it either, Mr. President. Maybe it was all done in Arabic or something.
Well, there's kind of a dark spot in the lower right toward the South Pole as we see it there. That could be the lower smear of the
This is
pie.
Mars, yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, could you go back to the
Well, here's Mercury.
Mercury? Okay. No,
And
but
you can
the
sort of see the
photograph
5 on the right there.
Looks like canals on Mercury.
Could be, yeah.
Okay.
Maybe.
Oh, there's a 5 on the right side.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
This may be upside down. North is down here and south is up here.
But it's usually a telescopic view like that.
Mhm.
Have you ever seen markings on the surface, Chuck, like that?
No, I've never tried. I've always looked at it in the evening when it's, well, a couple of times I've looked at it during the day, but the seeing's never been real good.
Mhm.
Now, even though it has a strange orbit, it's tidally locked to the sun, is it not?
Sort of.
It's in a resonance.
It shows the same face all the time, or does that vary?
No. No, it's a 1.5 resonance, I think.
There's not a side to Mercury that's pretty cold.
Well, there is temporarily. I mean, it has days and nights, but they're longer than its year.
Okay.
And its
No.
year is only 88 days. So
The days are 59 days, I think.
Okay.
59 Earth days. And the year is 88, I think.
But now we're 93 million miles away. Its distance varies, does it not? Quite a bit, isn't it? Kind of an oval shaped orbit.
it's got an elliptical orbit, yeah, more so than ours.
Do you know what the range would be? It's about 30 million.
Right,
It's
so
third-
a
30
third of the distance that we have from the sun.
It's like 36.
Yeah, that sounds right, Chuck. 36 million miles.
But it doesn't stay at 36. It goes out and then it comes in, doesn't
But not
it?
a huge amount, Ron. Just
Yeah,
Yeah, actually, it has like a 1/3 variance, like between, say 25 million is closest and 36 million the farthest away, something like that. So it's a pretty elliptical orbit for Mercury.
I don't think it's that big though.
I think I read that
A big a
somewhere.
variance.
And we don't have any probes going around it right now, right?
Not right now. We did have Messenger.
Mhm.
What have you heard about the one that went past it and is coming into the sun, the Parker? Anything?
Parker probe.
So we're looking for aphelion and perihelion, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So 0.3 to 0.46.
Oh, okay.
But
And-
it says something about that.
So that's like 27 million and 38 million.
Yeah, it shows the eccentricity too, Chuck. You see that? About
Mhm.
20%.
Yeah.
It's pretty good ellipse.
Yeah.
But it
You know,
rarely,
This is interesting too. It says Mercury's axis is the smallest tilt of all the planets.
I
It's
see.
rotational axis, yeah.
Mhm.
does it give a on the mount degrees? Ours is 27, isn't it? Or 23?
1/30th of a degree. Ours is
Yeah.
23.5.
Right.
Yeah. And it rarely traces the same orbit. It kind of makes a flower look like a sunflower around the sun.
It has precession, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What's really important to me is that the orbital period is 87.969, and Pat goes, I do my spiel where I say, how many teeth does a common bottlenose dolphin have? And then I say, how many keys on a piano? And then I say, how many official constellations are there? Ron, you remember that number, right?
88.
And here's the year length for Mercury. It's basically 88 days.
Mhm.
Wow.
Another 88.
Well, fascinating stuff. And I didn't know it was that bright. You can see it with the naked eye.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, yes. Yes, very
Yeah.
bright. Mhm.
It's
But-
it's always pretty close to the sun, so that's why a lot of people haven't seen it. I think the farthest distance separation you can see it in the sky, it's like 19 degrees.
Well, that's not good. Often wondered how the animals on the planet that have evolved over the millions of years know not to look at the sun without drugs.
Because it hurts.
Yeah.
They're idiots that drop drugs and they'll look right into it and fry their eye sockets. It's amazing. But here we
I know
are.
we were warned against that, but I don't recall there were any instances of people actually doing that.
No, we technically know the sun is up there without ever looking at it. We can sort of see it off to the side, and that doesn't.
Well, I mean, people taking drugs and then staring at the sun. Usually people take drugs and then they look inside themselves.
Oh yeah, God bless. What are we looking at here, man? It's just all over
Well,
Wikipedia.
here's Mercury versus the sun,
Doing transit.
Mhm.
That's
which
not
we tried to do, but it was foggy at the Camino Real that day. I think, right, Chuck? That was.
Well, we've done one at the museum years ago where it turned out really nice. But yeah, this last one, I think Pat and I were away somewhere.
Yeah. I think my San Jose club got that transit, Chuck. That was in the early 90s.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
sometime maybe later in the 90s? Yeah.
no plans ever to land there, I guess.
Pretty hot.
You never know.
Oh, they found ice on Mercury,
Not as hot as Venus.
but it's
Right.
it's still cold in the craters that they can find ice on Mercury.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah, because it's not tilted very much.
What is this black spot all about
A black spot.
on Mercury's surface?
Those are craters and at the North Pole. It says
Is that the North Pole? So that's where the water would be.
the sun never hits inside.
Right.
So where'd the water come from?
Comets and stuff hitting it.
Mhm.
Same way we got ours, I guess.
And you can see those craters are all kind of shallow. And that's
Mhm.
because it's so hot there that the surface is a little bit plastic. It kind of flows, 700 degrees.
Interesting. But now, since there's less gravity on Mercury, wouldn't you have, like on Mars, you have the highest volcano, Olympus Mons. Mercury would have some taller peaks.
It doesn't seem to have any real tall ones.
Is it smaller than our moon?
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, sorry. 1.5 times the size of it.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know there's any active volcanoes on Mercury.
Yeah.
but our moon is bigger than some of the dwarf planets out in the asteroid belt, I guess.
Bigger than Pluto.
Yeah.
Bigger than Pluto. That's what I'm thinking of.
Well, they crashed Messenger into Mercury, huh?
Yeah.
Incidentally, later on in Jerry's talking points, something called a 3-for-1 deal has Mercury less than 1.3, I think it is, degrees from Pleiades, which is M45.
Okay.
Cool.
And then it goes on to the comet Pan-STARRS, which is still out there. It's 4.5 degrees west-southwest of Mercury. About 4 degrees high above the horizon, 1 hour after sunset.
Yeah, good luck seeing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Binoculars would pull that in if it weren't so glowy out there, huh?
Yeah. And hazy and
It was hazy last night. I really thought I was going to see Mercury last
Yeah,
night.
especially in the West, it was hazy.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Outreach, have you done any occultations lately of asteroids?
one last night.
Did you see it? Did it happen?
It was a negative.
Ah,
It was passing the main predicted shadow path was over like San Francisco and Death Valley and, near Las Vegas somewhere. But it had a wide 1 sigma, so they weren't sure of either the orbit of the asteroid or the position of the star, probably the orbit of the asteroid. And so usually they ask you to, it's worth trying if you're within 2 sigmas, and we were in a wide 1 sigma, so I gave it a shot.
Okay.
okay. In other words, there's a path across the Earth. Somebody down in South America might have seen the star blink out.
Well,
Right.
somebody in the Western US, yeah, more toward Las Vegas may have seen it,
But not you.
but not me.
No.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
With those paths, it's sort of like a mini eclipse. Those
Right.
paths always go east to west or west to east.
Nope.
They go north and south.
Yep. I mean, you get all kinds of, occultations aren't just for asteroids. It's also for Kuiper belt objects and other things that might be in highly inclined orbits.
Oh, orbits are strange. Wow. Thought we were all on an ecliptic going east to west, flat.
That's the major planets and most of the asteroids, but not everybody.
Yeah.
Speaking of asteroids, gentlemen, yeah, there we go. For the benefit of the folks that don't know, are you aware of 10 Hygeia reaching opposition at 11 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on Thursday? Meaning it's up there all night. but it's not going to occult any star. But then no real moon is out.
Yeah, no, it's up all night because it's in opposition. It's directly opposite the sun. So it would be a full moon asteroid.
Yeah, full asteroid, full
Full
Hygeia.
asteroid.
It may be occulting for somebody elsewhere on the Earth, but there's none that I saw for me recently. I've done an occultation for Hygeia in the past, but again, it was a negative.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's the fourth largest asteroid in our system, and
so it's a dwarf planet.
No.
It's technically an asteroid. It's roundish.
Not spherical enough.
Well, there'll be arguments about what's a dwarf planet and what isn't, just like there were for planet and dwarf planet.
434 kilometers. That's about what, 350 miles across?
250?
300, I would imagine.
So the way you look at an asteroid like 10 Hygeia is you take a picture, and then several hours later or several nights later, you take another picture of it and you notice that it's moved with respect to the stars. You can also sit there with a pad of paper at the telescope and sketch the asteroid field, or not the star field, and then you'll see that the star that moves from night to night is the asteroid.
Oh. Okay. Well,
And some of them move so rapidly that you can see the change, within 10 or 15 minutes.
it's magnitude 10. The rock is near the southeast corner of Virgo. Wait a couple hours after sunset. Start by locating magnitude 1 star Spica, unless it's Spica, well known now in Virgo. Fascinating stuff. Those are the 4 biggest, huh? And Vesta is not a dwarf planet. I guess it's not round enough, is it?
Well, they didn't really make a good definition of dwarf planet, so
No, they're still working on it.
yeah.
Wonder what your weight would be if you were on Ceres. Couple pounds. Fascinating.
And Hygeia used to be considered a planet
Oh, it did?
back in the
all the
1830s.
Yeah.
Well, magnitude 10. What is the cutoff? At what point can you see something with your naked eye? At what
6.
Around 6 or 7.
Yeah.
or below in number?
From here, and with light pollution, probably about 5 or something.
Yeah.
Gotcha, right.
Yeah, actually that was my limiting magnitude last night for when I was doing the asteroid occultation, was like 5.4.
Okay.
Yeah, seeing this one would require a 3 to 4 inch telescope.
10 Hygeia. It's got to be Greek for something. Hygeia sounds like
a goddess of hygiene.
Of course. The course I flunked in junior high school. Gentlemen, we can go on from here to this week's supernova, SN 2022 HRS, whatever that is, inside NGC 4647, or talk about Berenices, the hair.
Let's do the supernova. That's quick.
Yeah, it is. Not much to
This
it.
is a nice picture taken on, when did you take it? 19 April 2022.
Okay.
So you can see the supernova is a star at the intersection of the 2 lines. They used to use an arrow to show the supernova, and they were easier to find because you just had to look for that arrow in the sky.
Yeah.
But this shows the 2 galaxies, NGC 4647, and the supernova is in that galaxy, away from the nucleus. And then it's near another galaxy, M60, the Messier 60. This was taken by Robert Kazilak, anyway, using a 12-inch Meade F10 Schmidt-Cassegrain. And he stacked 35 single frames, each of 10-second duration.
Huh.
What is that scene? The broom, what's that mean?
That's a scale of measuring how good the seeing is. I'm not sure what it's calibrated to.
Yeah, but 4 out of 10 doesn't look very good. So unless it's an inverse scale like golf, the lower the better.
Okay, NGCs are all galaxies, and this would be a small spiral galaxy.
NGCs aren't necessarily all galaxies, but
Oh,
Yeah.
they're like M's.
But this one is.
yeah.
Like Messier.
And this is showing you that these things happen all the time. These, if you look around and you check a number of galaxies, you're probably going to find one or so every night or two.
Yeah, if your telescope's big enough, you can find hundreds every night.
Mhm.
Wow. I believe in your talking notes, your talking points, it says SN 2022. I'm assuming that's this year. And then it says HRS, which is either short for hours or is part of the name of that. Do you know?
No,
what-
it's telling you when it happened in 2022.
Yeah. It's alphabetical, and they've been through the alphabet several times.
Which shows you how many supernovas they found this year.
Right.
Because they start with 2022A, 2022B, 2022C, and then they go AA, AB, AC, and this one has gotten all the way up to HRS.
In 3 letters. Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of them.
What does SN stand for? Supernova, of course.
Supernova,
Supernova,
yes.
yeah.
All right.
And magnitude 13.9, that's beyond the visual or magnitude of a 6-inch telescope.
Mhm.
Probably something you could see in a 10-inch.
Right. It's kind of like the magnitude of Pluto, huh?
Yeah.
Or a 5-inch with a camera.
Yes. That's right.
Right.
I meant, yeah, just for visual,
Yeah,
what you know.
Sure. Yeah.
Well, forgive me for missing out on what you guys have been talking about, but is the small spiral galaxy on the screen? Is that the big white spot in the middle?
Yeah. That's
M60.
That's what?
M60 is that big bright guy. That's in the Virgo group. You
Yeah.
can see upstairs is the French word for Virgo, Vierge.
Okay, M60 is a star.
No, it's a galaxy.
Oh no, it's a pretty big galaxy. It's in the Virgo group.
That's a galaxy?
Yeah. It's just the core of the galaxy.
Yeah,
You need a much longer exposure to pick out the rest of the galaxy.
I think it's an elliptical, Jerry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can see some structure here, unless it's just posterization of the processing.
Mm-hmm.
Especially on the left of the core, you can see sort of a arm or something, a gradation of light.
Mm-hmm.
It's
So you might
an,
have got something if you took longer.
Yeah, I think I'm seeing in 46, 47 some spiral arms.
Yeah.
I can see the spiral arms there on this picture.
Yeah.
Going on to the solar eclipse from Mars, the URL is there. Can you play that, Tom?
Yeah. Got that somewhere.
involves one
Well,
of the,
that's a good shot, Tom. It looks like you picked up 46, 47 on the right.
Yeah, that's a Wikipedia picture.
That's nice.
so it doesn't eclipse the whole sun. It just, there's got small moons on Mars, Phobos and Deimos, right?
Yep.
Mhm.
Just Phobos.
No, that's pretty crazy.
That's pretty amazing image.
Yeah. So it's from a satellite, huh?
From a rover.
Oh, from the rover. Okay.
Yeah. You can see surface detail. I mean, you can see details of the structure of Phobos.
Yeah.
Oh.
So they must have had a solar filter on Perseverance then.
Either that or they have a high tolerance for brightness on their chip.
That's neat. You can see some sunspots, huh?
Yeah.
I'd be able to look right into the sun from Mars. That's a large potato head going by.
Yeah. That's
That
pretty
moon's
impressive.
spiraling in. Eventually, it's going to break up and collide with Mars.
Those two little rocks are captured asteroids, are they not?
Most likely.
Well,
Yeah.
now the thinking is that they are pieces of debris blasted off of Mars in the Hellas Basin impact.
Nice.
Must have been a big impact.
Yeah. Well, Hellas Basin is pretty large.
Yeah. So in Greek, they mean fear and trembling.
Companions of the god of war.
Mm-hmm.
Are they strange orbits or do they go in an ecliptic on the same plane, you suppose, those two?
They're mildly weird. I mean, Phobos is spiraling inward.
Wildly weird.
That was pretty technical, Chuck.
Yeah.
Mildly weird. Fascinating. So Perseverance is still out there. I wonder what they're doing with the Ingenuity, the little helicopter.
It's still flying.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Took a flight again last week, I understand.
That would be an interesting video to see, a little drone footage over Mars, you know,
Uh-huh.
I'm sure if you go to that site, you can see it.
because it is a drone. Okay, here we are. Tommy,
Yeah,
you were so.
Now let's see if we get a nice Ingenuity video.
Mhm.
Curiosity, that's an old rover. Okay. And China is now on Mars, are they not? Green hue pediment. Learned about pediment a couple.
The Arab Emirates are in orbit around it.
China didn't land, or they're just concentrating on the moon.
I don't know if their lander's still operable.
Yeah,
Haven't heard much lately.
It's called the Zhang something, isn't it?
yeah.
And what is
Oh,
that?
that's an amazing rock.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
It's like a scoop. Wow. Okay.
I'm sure you've got, internet crazies saying it's a bowling pin or something.
Who the hell would want to go there and have to spend their whole time in a suit? It would be a mission of suicide to go to Mars. Wow. Delta.
They had an image where they were showing like 1,000 craters in this one area. I mean, not craters, but caves on Mars. So you're supposed to find a cave on Mars and set up house in there.
There's a nice video from the helicopter.
Mhm. You can see its shadow on the ground.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Look at that.
That's got to be a hugely fast exposure because you're seeing looked to me like you were seeing the rotor blades there.
Yeah,
And they
stop.
go at some huge number of RPM.
Mhm.
Wow. You remember the name of the big basin it's in?
Jezero crater.
Okay. We try to get those type landing spots, do we not? We're not going to try Olympus Mons ever because it might roll down the hill. Here it is. Perseverance helicopter.
Olympus Mons actually isn't that steep except right on the very edge.
Oh, yeah. I heard about that. 15 miles high, or is that kilometers?
Whatever about 3 times higher than Mount Everest is.
Okay. That would be about 15, 16 miles, maybe even taller. Want to talk about going to Uranus or Doug, as it's known by some scientists?
Yeah. Now this, I selected this because this shows the very earliest stage of a new recommended flagship mission for NASA. So no contract has been let for building this yet. It's still in the, this is neat and we ought to do it and here's a good design for it stage, which is where they all come from. The current Juno around Jupiter, that started in the early 90s and went through the same process, but it started there as the JIMO mission, JIMO, Jupiter Icy Moons Orbiter. And it was going to have a lander that landed on Europa and melted its way through the ice into the ocean to probe it. But the thing was prohibitively expensive. And so it got worked down over the years to Juno. This one for Uranus is going to probe, it's going to orbit the long satellite that's shown there, is going to orbit the planet itself. And the sort of teal colored thing sticking off the side there toward the top is going to, that's going to be the atmospheric probe that's going to be dropped into the planet's atmosphere.
Looks
And
very
send
much
back
like
up.
Huygens.
Yes. And send back pretty much an hour and a half worth of data on the atmosphere and pressure and stuff. So this will probably be, I've seen dates all over the place for launching it. It says it's going to be launched in 2031 or 2032 and would then arrive at Uranus in the 2044 to 2045 period, just 22 years from now. But I've seen dates of projected landing as far as 2051. So this mission is in the very earliest stages of potential and planning. There are different advisory groups in the government that decide on national priorities for taxpayer money. And it's based on input from scientists, and unsolved problems that they think are high priority. And this one is the top contender for this recent report from that committee. So we'll probably be hearing about this in times to come.
And you'll see that there's no solar panels there. They're going to be so far out. So it has two of those radioisotope thermal generators sticking off there on the right side. You know, in the upper image, they're on the right side and they're above the probe. Those two things that look like dark gray veined objects sticking out of it.
Now, if Tom could go back and show the Perseverance rover on Mars picture, you see one of those things close up sticking out of the back of the rover, because the rover is also nuclear powered.
Oh, we're sending up some uranium or whatever. Radium.
Plutonium.
Plutonium.
Plutonium. Okay. Well, those sure look like lander legs on the far right side.
Oh, no.
No, this thing's not intended to land.
I guess.
It's just things holding instruments out.
Well, you
You
said
talking about this, Jerry?
No, the other way. That's the front end. No,
Well,
that's
he was circling it with his cursor. So that's the RTG on the back end there that Tom's circling with the cursor.
which rover is this? Perseverance. That's not a good angle on the RTG.
Yeah.
Do you have one from the back? You
So
showed
one
a
of the
really
ones you
nice
showed
one.
earlier had a good view of the you know, they have these veins sticking off of them for heat dissipation.
Yeah. It's okay.
Yeah, there. Okay, so you can see it there. It's more
Yeah.
come down. It's more the big boxy thing to the right of that. No. There you go. You can see those veins sticking off of it.
veins.
You know,
Yeah.
wings. They look like wings sticking off of it.
To
Oh,
dump heat.
I got it.
The thing gets the plutonium in the core generates heat, and then the heat goes out to the casing holding it, and then it goes out to the veins and it's dumped into the environment. So there's a temperature difference between between being near the plutonium and being out on the vein. So they put thermocouples at different places, and those things develop an electric current based on the temperature difference of the thermocouples.
And that's a new thing that they're going to add to solar panels so that they can generate power at night, because they're going to take advantage of the difference between, you know, they're looking at this big empty sky and the temperature of the solar panel itself that's been warmed up during the day, and harvests a little more electrical energy from that.
So is this the first rover on Mars that has a little nuclear reactor on board?
I
Yes.
know that there's a previous one also.
And
No,
Curiosity. Yeah.
Curiosity.
Yes, Curiosity.
Yeah.
is
The
it,
other ones, Opportunity and Spirit, were solar panel powered, and that's what killed them, basically.
Now, as an aside, in our age of high technology and military weaponry, a lot of the load that soldiers carry around on them is batteries. And when your battery is dead, you can't go back to Radio Shack. We can't go to Radio Shack anymore anyway. But you can't get new batteries. So the military has developed ways of recharging the battery from the heat difference from the soldiers' clothing, generating a small trickle current from the warm body and then the cold environment, or vice versa, depending on which environment you're in, and using thermocouples to generate a small trickle current that keeps these rechargeable batteries charged.
And they're also looking into little strain gauge type things that go in your boots that would, as you walk, they would generate electricity.
Yeah.
did it have plutonium in your boots of your?
No.
Well, the heat is not from plutonium there. The heat is from your body.
Yeah. So Ron, no, if you had that, you'd definitely get a hot foot.
Yeah. You need a temperature gradient.
Yeah.
It's like having a energy brick. You know, you attach a wire to one end, then the other end, and you throw it out in your backyard, and it lands half in the sun and half in the shade, and it generates electricity. A hypothetical device.
Mhm.
It doesn't turn anything like a
Nope.
dynamo?
No,
It's not turning.
no. The temperature difference on the two thermocouples creates an electric current.
Yeah. You don't need a mechanical thing operating.
You suppose they might have some solar panels on there anyway as a backup, just in case? They don't.
No, the sun's too weak out there.
Oh,
But soldiers often will carry solar panels with them to
Right.
when they're in downtime,
uh-huh. Look at this. There's a backpack item if I ever saw one.
Quite.
Some of those soldiers, paratroops and stuff, they have packs on them that weigh upward of 150 pounds. I couldn't even stand up.
Yeah, say severe back problems in old age.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. President, you said the flagship mission is going up in about 9 years, and I wanted to ask you about some words in your talking points. Orbiter and probe, that's UOP, Uranus Orbiter and Probe, but it's a combination of NASA, UC, and Johns Hopkins University. UC is our university here, isn't it, in California?
Yeah, University of California.
It could also mean University of Colorado too, right?
Well, it says University of California, though.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but you
I think
UC
that's
could be that
CU.
too. Yeah,
I suppose
So-
is our university involved?
it could be. There are 9 campuses of University of California now, I think.
Given the county we're in, you'd think our university would be more space-minded, more physics,
Yeah, I know UCLA is involved in this a lot, and UCSB, of course, has this really clever named Experimental Cosmology Laboratory run by Phil Lubin.
Oh,
And they work on a lot of things, including sending postage stamp sized cameras to Proxima Centauri.
yeah, I saw something recently where they might actually do that. I don't know how that.
Well, we got 2 talks on that from
Yeah, we
before
did.
COVID.
Powered by lasers.
Yeah.
What cleaned my eyes several weeks ago.
Hmm.
Okay. And good old, I guess Elon Musk, who made your cars, is going to be launching SpaceX, the Falcon Heavy. Has that gone up yet? The Heavy, the biggie?
Yeah.
Monster rocket.
And that Falcon Heavy is the one of the risk friction factors for this mission, probably going to be realized go over a long time frame.
Okay. But what do they hope to find? They can't land on Uranus. They're going to just go get lost down in the cloud tops.
What they mean is, for this one, it's by a flagship mission. It means it's going to put a probe in the atmosphere. They're going to drop that teal colored part of the satellite, and then the rest of it is going to orbit Venus, as opposed to a
Uranus.
flyby, which one of the Voyagers did on Uranus in '79, I think it was.
Yeah.
Way back. An interesting thing that was on that graphic was they said amount of data sent back by the mission was only like 69 gigabytes.
Yeah.
It's like nowadays you can collect almost that much in a minute, but it must be because of bandwidth restrictions on talking that far away.
Yeah, the power limitations and the data rate.
Do you suppose they're going to orbit Uranus like Juno orbits Jupiter in big, long, sweeping off-center ovals?
They wouldn't
Go
have any
ahead, Chuck.
reason to.
Well, I mean, does Uranus have a big magnetic field like Jupiter does?
It doesn't have the strong radiation fields around it.
Okay, and that's the reason they come in and then go way out for 55 days with Juno, right?
Yeah, solid state electronics do not like radiation.
Well, is the Uranus the one with the great white spot for a while of
That's
storm?
Neptune.
That was Neptune, all right. But
Yeah.
they're pretty close, aren't they? About the same. They both have little rings.
Yeah.
And is that the biggie? Is that the Elon Musk? That's why he's the rich.
That is his Starship. That's not the Falcon Heavy. That's the Starship, the black part on top, which will carry up to 100 passengers to Mars. And this is the Gigando booster below it. He's waiting for FAA clearance to test it.
Is he in Texas or is that?
Yeah, Corpus Christi, Texas.
Oh, he's in Corpus Christi. Yes, near the ocean.
Around there, I think. What's that?
That's near the Gulf of Mexico, isn't it?
Yeah, it's on the Gulf.
Okay.
And he's been having some problems because apparently they've been skirting some environmental regulations as far as what they dump into the water and the
Yeah, he got busted.
marshland.
But Bezos's space company is out in the desert somewhere, isn't it? Jeff Bezos.
New Mexico.
I don't imagine we have time to talk about Berenices. Maybe run that next week. Coma.
Yeah,
Nighttime in April is a great time to check it out. Coma, Berenices and his orchestra, lesser known star pattern. That's a new term, patterns. Star clusters, nebulas, now star patterns. Interesting. It's a Messier object too.
there's a lot of stuff in there.
Yeah.
We
A
are
lot of
just
stuff in her hair.
A lot of galaxies up there.
okay. There'll be some changes coming your way, but we'll try to keep this Monday morning podcast and blog pretty much the same, everybody. And 2 Fridays from now, I believe, is the 6th. That was the first Friday. And the next day would be the second Saturday.
No, the next day is Astronomy Day.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. So the next, it's 2 weeks in. And you want to give that number or what is it? SBAU.org tells you everything, doesn't it?
Yep.
Webmaster Tom takes care of it. Tom and both Toms and Jerry and Chuck, give my love to your wives and thank you very much for entertaining us and informing. We'll do it again. SBAU Astro Hour retiring for this 25th day of April. It's episode 26. We'll see you next Monday morning, hopefully.
Right.
Thanks,
Right.
Ron.
everybody.
Tim was watching today. Just saw Tim.
Good for you.
Okay.
Love
Talk to you
you.
later.
Thanks, everybody. See you later.
Goodbye.